Hey there, I'm Mac. Tell me, what do you get when you combine fast and fluid gameplay with an awesome and colorful character design? Okay. Well, what if it's a robot? What if it's red? What if its name is Kai? God damn it! Gravity Circuit. Not too many people know about this game, but I sure do. And just look at me now. Damn it. One fateful day, YouTube recommended me one of the game's level soundtracks. I loved what I heard, and I needed to play the game where it came from. And so I started playing the game, and it quickly became one of my favorite games of the last decade. It's got everything. Colorful robots, great music, fun gameplay, 2 dogs, which is a lot better than 1 dog. What more could you ask for? It's a video game. Gravity Circuit released in the year 2023 and was developed and is still being updated by Domesticated Ant Games. Whew, finally, a developer for me. In the game, you play as Kai, the Gravity Circuit, and aim to help the Guardian Corps defeat the once friendly Rebel Circuits. But why have they turned against those who they once protected? Play the game to find out, you bum. Where do I even start with this game? Probably with how you play it. Kai has all the moves you'd expect. A sprint, jump, wall jump, punch, crouch, slide, dive kick, you get it. My favorite of Kai's abilities is the grapple hook. Grapple hook? Grapple? Hook shot? Hook shot. This allows you to swing from ceilings, attack enemies from range, intercept projectiles, and it even lets you pick up defeated enemies and throw them at other enemies. This move is essential for mastering the game. As displayed here. It doesn't stop there, however. You also have these things called burst techniques. You gain burst energy from chests, defeating enemies, and checkpoints. Once you have enough, you can perform a burst technique, which you can buy from this guy called... I'm just gonna say N. All these techniques have their uses, but my favorites are the Heavenly Pile Drive, Rising Upper, and Emergency Heal. People who are, good at the game won't need the latter, but I find it incredibly useful for the last few bosses. You can also buy enhancement chips from the Nurse Bot, and these range from mildly useful to you'd be stupid not to use these. Useful. I use the Dodge Slider, which makes you invulnerable during a slide, the Light Alloy, which allows you to slow your descent by holding the jump button, and the Air Jumper, which gives you a double jump. These make platforming way easier, especially the double jump, though there is still some skill needed. With Kai's basic movement, burst techniques, and enhancement chips combined, the gameplay here is so much fun. I don't even need incentives to replay levels. I just love blasting through stages, deciding whether or not I should hop over an enemy or pick them up so I can one-shot the next one, making crazy recoveries with the hookshot, etc. The gameplay loop here is fantastic. I'm gonna backtrack for a second. In order to buy these enhancement chips, you have to get these things called rescue tokens, which you get by helping civilians in the levels. Now I know what you're thinking. What's he talking about? Don't worry, let me explain. Levels have been in video games since the very beginning. Well, not the very beginning, Pong didn't have levels, but they've been a thing since the arcades, let me put it that way. Remember in Pac-Man when you got sent to a second area after eating all the pellets in the first one? Those are levels. Now that I think about it, that's probably not what you're asking. In Gravity Circuit, we have a total of 12 stages to go through. The introductory level, the main 8 stages, and 3 final stages. While your main goal in each stage is to get to the end to defeat the boss, there are a lot of extra things to find. As previously mentioned about 12 seconds ago, you can find civilians in the main 8 stages and will receive rescue tokens for helping them. These civilians can range from being out in the open to being hidden behind a complex series of obstacles. How'd they get there? Each level also has a health or a burst meter upgrade, giving you either a chunk of extra health or an extra slot for a burst technique, resulting in a whole second HP meter and 5 burst technique slots if you get all of them. You can beat the game without getting any of these, but it will be much easier if you go for all of them. You might have to look up a guide though, because some of these are either super hidden or really hard to get to. Well, there's gotta be an answer in here somewhere. Defeating enemies, bosses, and talking to NPCs will give you data chips. These will allow you to research certain characters in the Research Compendium. This doesn't really do anything and isn't that useful, but it's something for the completionist to do. AKA me, so I like this actually. Each level has its own unique gimmick. The steelworks are full of lava and exploding barrels, the junkyard is full of garbage compactors and zombie robots, the mountains have tons of fans and hazards that will freeze you in place, the power plant has electric floors and walls, the highway is full of bottomless pits and hazards moving towards you at lightning speeds, the city center has speakers going off everywhere at different intervals, the ore mines have crumbling ceilings and giant blocks on conveyor belts in your way, the warehouse leads you into cyberspace which is full of disappearing level design, and the 3 final arc stages have all these gimmicks combined on top of overwhelming amounts of enemies. Overall, all these levels provide unique challenges and are great tests of your skill. They even allow you to play the main 8 stages in whatever order you want, displaying their difficulties on the select screen. You could go from easiest to hardest, Or you could suffer like me and go from left to right, get stuck in the mountains for a day because that's how your brain's wired. But don't worry, because even if you suck balls at the game and you're too prideful to choose an easier difficulty, Gravity Circuit has you covered. The game does not use a live system and you can respawn all you want. You can even spend a little bit of money to get your burst meter maxed out, though doing so will increase the amount you'll have to spend next time, with it maxing out at $400. I forgot to talk about the economy. You get money from defeating enemies, destroying chests found throughout levels, and from the results screen if you play good enough. Money can be used to unlock burst techniques, enhancement chips, research characters, power chips, we'll get to one later, boost up checkpoints, make irresponsible purchases, standard money stuff. One of the best elements of the game, if not the best element of the game, is the soundtrack composed by Dominic Nembmark. It's full of fast, energetic, and catchy tracks that amplify the gameplay on a stupendous scale. Okay, those are my words for the day. I doubt I'd love the game as much as I do if it wasn't for the music. I get super pumped while I'm playing the game in a way that wouldn't be possible if the music wasn't so amazing. These are some of my favorite tracks. The music for the Guardian Corps HQ already gives me a nostalgic feeling, despite the game only releasing in 2023. And the boss themes are especially wonderful. The way the level themes are integrated into the boss tracks is something I'll never get tired of. Oh yeah, speaking of bosses, I should probably talk about those. The bosses in this game are tough as hell. It's all about quick reflexes and pattern memorization. Like most video games. Every boss, with 3 exceptions, has 2 health bars, and when the first bar is depleted, they release some burst energy. They also start performing desperation attacks, which can be pretty tricky to dodge. And by tricky, I mean hard as f***. The first boss you fight is the Wrecker Tank, who's more of a mini-boss compared to what you fight later on. He only has 1 health bar, and you can quickly hop from different levels to dodge his attacks. You might have some trouble with him at first, but he's a cakewalk compared to what you have to fight later on.
God damn it, I stepped in frosting.
After this point, you can pick whatever stage, and therefore any boss you want to fight in any order you want. The stage select screen tells you how powerful each boss is, just like with the level difficulties. And as previously stated, I don't read these and I go from left to right because that's what makes sense for me. The circuits are all super fun to fight. Their attacks are fast, but clearly telegraphed. Something I like is that each circuit incorporates stage hazards into their moveset. Ray shoots giant lasers, Cable's arena floor is all electric platforms, Crash makes giant blocks fall from the ceiling, etc. The hardest boss of the bunch, at least for me, is Bit. His attacks are super quick and you have to have insane reflexes to be able to do a perfect run. Clearly I don't. Also, every boss you should go talk to N. He reminisces on the circuit you just defeated and tells of what they were like before they turned evil. I love just getting to know more about these characters, and enhances the fights and especially the game's finale for me. Before we talk about the last couple bosses, I want to first talk about the... I was getting to that. Gravity Circuit's story is surprisingly great. It's somewhere in between Super Mario Galaxy and Sonic Adventure in terms of how dense the story is. The gameplay is the main focus here, but the story serves as a nice dressing. In my opinion, the characters are the best part of the story, my favorite being the leader of the Guardian Corps, Colonel. He always has something funny to say about the areas you're about to go through. You get the impression that he was forced into the role of a leader and isn't quite built for it. But nevertheless, he still leads the Guardian Corps the best he can. It's why it's so tragic when he gets mind controlled by Commander Circuit to sabotage the Guardian Corps and fight Kai, and the only way Kai could help him was by killing him. Rest in peace, Colonel, you will be missed. I don't really have any thoughts on Kai himself. I think of him as like an Optimus Prime type character, where he's pretty static, yet his heroic feats and stoic personality is enough for me to like him. He's a blank slate for you to project yourself onto, and the game actually incorporates that into the story, kind of. The big twist where it's revealed that he isn't the original Gravity Circuit blew my mind. Plus, N says that when the host is defeated, the circuit itself creates a new host out of any metal it can grab onto, recontextualizing all the times you respawn throughout the game. I might be reading too far into that last part, but still, super cool. The other characters like Pat, the nurse, and Prim don't really have anything to them, but they all have fun interactions with Kai, which is all I needed them to do. The last character I want to talk about is N, and I'll do so while transitioning towards talking about the... I need to get that fixed. After you make your way through the first arc level, you run into N, who reveals that he is the original Gravity Circuit, but lost the circuit when he was damaged in battle. He then challenges you to a fight in order to test your skills to see if you're ready to face the final boss. Not only is this a great twist in the story, but you get to essentially fight yourself, testing how much you know about your own abilities. After depleting his first health bar, N actually uses the burst techniques he sells you in order to power up. It even regenerates his health bar after you get it to 0 and spams techniques out of desperation. It's a great fight and probably my favorite story moment in the game. It shows just how much a good story can amplify moments like this in the game. The Arc's second boss isn't as cool, but it sure is harder. Not only do you have to fight the Red Eye from Sonic 3, but you have to fight all 8 Rebel circuits, back to back in random order. The game makes it a bit easier on you by giving you a health boost after each circuit you defeat, and if you die after taking down 4 circuits, you only have to fight the remaining 4 after respawning. I would have liked if the game made me take out all 8 in one go, but I also suck at the game and I would have gone insane on my first playthrough if it wasn't for these additions, so I'm cool with it. The final boss starts with the reveal of Commander Circuit, the mastermind behind the Virus Army, and then a 5-minute long expedition dump follows, where you sit there and read a bunch of text while a 20-second long music loop plays in the background. Yeah, this is the weakest part of the game for me. Look, I know there probably wasn't any other way to do this without making the scene even longer, but I would have preferred if this was its own animated cutscene with its own music track and narration. Being able to see the actions happening on screen would have been an improvement in my opinion. The story itself is great, it's just that the way it's presented is very mind-numbing to sit through, especially on a repeat playthrough. Or I just have the attention span of a 9-year-old. Either way, probably my least favorite part of the game. The fight starts with a battle against the mind-controlled Colonel. He puts up a good fight, even using the same Heavenly Power Drive technique you have. After depleting his first health bar, he starts using a shield that takes 5 hits before he can deal damage. The ceiling and floor also move inwards, making it harder to dodge his attacks. After defeating Colonel and sobbing in the corner for 10 minutes, you then have to fight Commander Circuit himself, who shoots an insane amount of bullets, tries to crush you with his giant hands, and has 3 health bars. Every time you deplete one of his health bars, the boss moves to a different phase. During the first phase, you have to attack his head until a weak spot appears on his forehead. The second phase, you have to hit his head until the weak spot comes out, then you have a short window where you can deal damage before it goes away. Also, his attacks are faster and he shoots way more bullets. The third phase, his arms go away, but he starts summoning enemies who you can use to open up the weak spot on his head. Sounds easy, right? No! This boss sucks. In a good way. It's supposed to be the ultimate test of your skills and is justified in its difficulty. Which is why I hate it. It takes forever to do damage during the second and third phases, having to reveal the weak spot on his head and all. Most of the time, I'm just trying to dodge his overwhelming attacks while trying to get a hit or two in, and I always manage to take damage anyway. It always takes me around half an hour to beat him, sometimes more if it's been a while since I've last played. And don't even get me started on how you have to beat Colonel every single time as well. After a while, it becomes less of a challenge, but it's still annoying when more of your health gets drained than you'd like. Also, Colonel turns purple after the first time you respawn because canonically Commander Circuit is simply creating his own Colonel on the spot. So yay, I don't have to keep killing Colonel over and over again. But after finally defeating Commander Circuit, N steps in to take his place in the ship, for the Ark needs to be run by somebody in order for all his civilian robots to stay active. A noble sacrifice. All is well, and with that, Gravity Circuit is over. After being one of the main 8 stages, Prim appears in Guardian Core HQ. She tells you about these things called pallet chips. What are those? I'm getting to that. There are 12 pallet chips in total. 10 of these are found throughout levels, one is found in the training room, and the last one we'll get to later. Not only do these chips give you alternate color palettes, but they unlock extra abilities as well, each corresponding with a circuit. Ray's chip unlocks a float beam ability, which allows you to shoot a laser beneath you while you float in the air. Trace's chip makes melee burst techniques drain the health of enemies. I could do that by sneezing. Blade's chip enables sliding in the air, basically an air dash. This is my favorite ability, it's basically a triple jump. Cable's chip allows you to shoot out electricity when you attack. Bit's chip makes you run faster and slide endlessly. This makes the gameplay even more frantic. Using this in tandem with the dodge slider chip is a wild combo too. Medley's chip turns your jumps into spins that can do damage, also an insane ability. Crash's chip increases the length of your hookshot and lets you fall faster by holding the down button in air. This one's very useful if you suck at using the hookshot. Hash's chip lets you turn into a little orb and float around for a couple seconds. I used to think this ability sucked, but it can be really useful for recovering from a bad jump or avoiding enemies. You can't go through walls though, so it's lame actually. End's chip allows you to grab blocks from the ground that can power up your burst techniques. I never use this one. Fading Onyx is the chip you get from the training room, which took me forever to find. Like how do you even know it's up there? You take more damage, but you look cool. Well, I'm not using that. In order to unlock the final chip, you have to have beaten the game already, for reasons that will be obvious in a second. You have to go to the left of the training room and enter the COM, aka the thing you use to replay bosses. You can fight every boss individually, the simulation duel, both Colonel and Commander Circuit, or you can fight every single boss in the game in order or randomized. In order to unlock the final chip, you have to fight every boss in this room at least once. So theoretically, you could do the full gauntlet. I won't though because I tried and it's really hard and I just want to stop talking about this game already. Anyway, this unlocks the Ultimate Blend, which gives you this cool red and white color along with every single palette chip ability. This changes everything. It breaks the game in half, no doubt about that, but it's so much fun. Blazing through levels all with these abilities makes you feel all powerful. Also, using the air jumper, dodge slider, and light alloy chips make this even more bananas. You can't be stopped. I mean, you could still be an idiot and take damage and fall into pits, but still, you can't be stopped. I encourage you to try this out after beating the game. It's a wild time. There's 2 extra modes to try out when you're done with the main story. New Game Plus, which is unlocked after you beat the main story, and Circuit Mode, which allows you to convert burst energy into health. I honestly haven't tried the latter out yet, but it sounds interesting. You also have these game modifiers. Master Levels changes up all the level design in the game to be way harder. Rude Enemies is exactly what it sounds like. Double Hazards doubles the amount of health stage hazards take from you. Single Credit removes all checkpoints and dying sends you back to the stage select. Iron Circuit disables saving and any deaths send you to the title screen. And Flip World flips the world. These modifiers are hardcore and simply playing the first level of the game with some of these modifiers on was enough for me. Skilled players or people with too much time on their hands will get a kick out of these though. Aside from that, there's not much else to do aside from getting all the collectibles and replaying stages to try and get the perfect run. If you're like me and find the core gameplay super fun, 100% completing the game is a no-brainer. I still haven't though. I have 2 achievements and I do not feel like beating the game with 1 health bar. I don't have a physical copy of this game, so I'm just going to wave around this mini Kai while I make my final thoughts. Overall, Gravity Circuit is a fantastic game, with difficult yet engaging gameplay, catchy music, and a neat little story to fully complete the package. It might not be the most groundbreaking, earth-shattering, pants-shitting experience ever of all time, but it knows what it wants to be, and it does it nearly flawlessly. This is definitely one of my favorite games of the last decade, and although I hope this isn't the last we see at Gravity Circuit, I'm fully content with what we have. I will say though, I could use a physical copy.